I'm sharing my night routine and self-care rituals, which is a continuation of my self-care and solo dates video from earlier today. I thought I would do a separate video of what I do after a self-care solo date at home and in the city. I thought I would share my night and what I usually do to unwind after a long day like that, or just in general when I have time or when I try to make time. But this will be a bit more of an extended night routine, but it's basically what I do almost every night, except it involves a little bit more self-care and things I do on occasion. So if you watched my other video, you would have seen that I had a very early morning. I was awake at 3 a.m. and I sort of rested till 5 or 6, but I was basically awake. And I got home around after 8. So usually for my night routine, I'm in bed by 10 because I like to wake up around 5 or 6, and 3 is very unusual. It's just because I had slept very early the day before from an event. So, a part of a good night routine, at least for me, involves creating good habits and a schedule that sets you up for the next day but also keeps you in the present. I like to do things like journaling. I have a night part of my journal that I do on my free days that I usually like to do it on. And I like to practice gratitude at night and reflection on the day and my life and my goals whenever I have the time. And I think another important part is resetting and recharging. So you can do that by creating a nice environment in your room, in your bathroom. I think you can reset physically, like showering or skincare, which I mainly do at night, or things like mentally with journaling, and emotionally by reflecting in gratitude. And I think mood lighting can help a lot in making your room into a pleasant experience. I like to use mood lighting, such as this little lamp that you can change the colors on, and I find it very relaxing depending on the color, and it sort of sets the mood because I feel like colors can affect your emotion. I also have this light here, and it's like a flower that's pink, and it's one of my favorites. I had it for a very long time. It's been in most of my rooms, and I like it to create just that perfect shade of pink, which you can't really see in video, but I think it really sets the mood, and I like that it's right next to my bedside. So part of my night routine, I think, is your self-care or body self-care. And I like to do my skincare, as I said, and I like to sort of do a step-by-step routine, and I've added a couple new products in, but usually it's been pretty minimal for most of my life. And it's just because I want that extra moisture because I do have very sensitive skin. So I'm about to do my skincare, and I realize actually that I need to do a body shower first, which I realized I was going to do, but I was thinking for some reason that I would do my skincare first, and that doesn't make any sense. So I forgot, but not really forgot, that I was definitely going to shower because it was so hot today. It said it was 93. I don't know what it actually was up to that hour because I didn't really check a couple hours before that, but it did feel like 93. I have my day list of the time and day of the week. It says it's Fluttery Imagination Monday night, And it's a lot of songs that I haven't really listened to much, and it's inspired by Mondays at Night of what I listen to. So we have different things. There's, let me see. I've listened to these people before, but not necessarily these songs. A couple of them I have. So I feel like I'm not sure this is the playlist I want to be listening to. It might be nice for change, but I also have my go-to. I love this romanticizing studying classical playlist. It's perfect for romanticizing studying, as the name is, but it sounds exactly what the title says, so I really like that part. And I think it's perfect also for showering or a quick shower, but usually I'm more of a pop song when I'm in the shower, and it's a lot easier to hear because sometimes classical can either be very loud or very quiet, at least the ones I listen to. I also have no idea why it says this song because I don't remember listening to this, so it must have been from a curated playlist on Spotify, but maybe I should listen to it because it's right here. Since it's summer, I think I'm just going to do my romanticizing summer playlist that I made with some songs that are newer to me and some that are my favorite or new versions of my favorite. So, yeah, I think I've talked enough about music for showering and playlists. So, I've washed off all the sunscreen except I need to do it again on my face because I don't really like to take off any eye makeup when I do choose to wear it in the shower just because I can't see what I'm doing and I don't want to possibly pull out any eyelashes. And I like to use the cleanser to get off sunscreen anyway. There's no cleanser included just because I use a main cleanser that I've switched over to a new one just because when I do use that one, it's a bit too harsh. It's very gentle, but at the same time, my skin can't take using a cleanser every day or twice a day. And I've noticed with the other one, it's almost more mild, not in how it works, but how it affects my skin. So it's just usually these three at the minimum. These are my basics, what I have to use a minimum every day, usually twice a day, morning and night. I have the Aveeno Eczema Therapy Lotion with oatmeal that I found really works with my skin and is one of the only lotions that works for me without irritating my skin. And I recently, about maybe a year or two ago, started using Working Hands just as a layer over that, and I also use Vaseline, which is sort of to go over everything to seal in the moisture because it is very important in my skincare routine that there is a lot of moisture. I feel like it is almost a bit excessive when I first got everything, but now that I've seen how everything works, I have some new additions to my skincare which I don't use every single day if I don't have as much time or I feel like it's not needed, usually just when it's not needed. But the first step is my cleanser. And then this new one, hyaluronic acid, which I've been using longer than the cleansers and the newer things for a couple months. And then on top of that, I put the niacinamide, which just because it's a bit thicker, so it should go after. And then this might be excessive, but sometimes I use this if I don't use the niacinamide. And then I use this for both my body and my face. And I like to use this for my hands, and I don't think it's gonna fit, but I put this all over because it really seals in the moisture, and my skin gets very irritated in the summer, especially the summer, Not exactly sure why, but that's everything that I use. So I have this new headband that I use for washing my face that sort of makes me look like a cupcake, which is nice, so I don't really mind. But I got it with a mask that I got recently, so I think I might use that because I got it because I've never really used wash off masks. And I might either use that or a face mask just because I want to do my self care rituals that I do and not just night routines because I kind of miss my Sunday reset and night routine because of yesterday. I also didn't mention that I use makeup remover after the cleanser to remove the eye makeup just because it doesn't really remove all the way with just cleanser because it usually stays on a little more and it's a little tough to get off without it. And I want to make sure that I am gentle with the eye and under eye area and my eyelashes. I have glitter all over my face now from my new eyeshadow, my liquid purple eyeshadow, and I think that sunscreen that I had on overnight irritated my skin because I had fallen asleep and I don't think I've ever let sunscreen stay on for that long, and my skin got a bit irritated in the morning, and I don't think it helped that it was very hot today. But it wasn't unbearably hot. It wasn't actually that bad for 93. It didn't really feel like 93, but it felt hot. But I think it was just like the heat never helps with my skin. So with my collection of skincare, I think that I might do a mask just to calm down my skin a little bit. I have a couple. I have a hydrating mask, a purifying mask, and a soothing mask. They're like little mini ones. And the hydrating mask is the large one in a set. And I think I might go for the soothing mask just because it's sensitive today. I don't usually have so many options, so it's fun that I can just consider it just almost an essential and not something that's like an indulgence. But I did splurge a little bit, not sort of money wise, but just buy things I don't usually have or tried before for my upcoming birthday. And I think it's nice that I can try something new. So I'm gonna use later this I Do Care Chill Mo Mask Soothing Mask. And it's in this cute little container. It actually matches my robe, which was not intentional. And it's sort of mint chocolate chip flavored. And actually comes with a little scoop that looks like one of those wooden ice cream scoops that has the scoops on both sides, which actually isn't the easiest to eat with, but cute for a mask, which I feel like actually works more effective, even though it's not actually ice cream. This is the best lighting we're gonna get. So I'm going to actually wet my face first because usually I want my skin damp for the hyaluronic acid, and my skin has dried out a little bit, especially since I keep saying sensitive skin, but I have eczema, so dry skin. And then I'm just going to do the hyaluronic acid. This is one of my favorites just because I know it's so gentle. It won't ever irritate my skin. So I don't put a lot on, so you don't want it sticky. and it doesn't really feel like much, but I do notice a difference. And I first started using it in high school when I found a bottle that someone in my family had and I was allowed to use, and I just kind of liked that it looked very minimal and it just looked like something that would help you, and the serum in the little dropper. So I like to put it under my eyes. Let me spread it around a little bit more. Okay, and then I just let that dry. And then I just use niacinamide, and I use the Ordinary brand, which is what the hyaluronic I used in high school was. And honestly, I don't think in high school we really need as many serums and products. It just made your skin extra glowy. But in high school, it's kind of already like that. And I don't put too much because it can actually irritate it a little bit. If I put too much, it sort of not stings or burns, but just gets kind of tingly. But I patch tested it before I used it and it was fine, but I think my skin just had to get used to it. So I feel the hyaluronic acid sort of dries quicker, but I don't really remember because it's been a couple of days. And after I rub it in, I sort of just rub it in. I don't want to get it onto my finger instead of onto my face. And then I just realized I'm doing the mask, which is so silly of me. Okay, let me just stop it here. So I decided that I am going to use the mask just because it's not something I do every day and my skin is irritated, and I am doing a self-care rituals and night routine. So I kind of wanted to, so I'm gonna do it even if I forgot. So I'm just gonna use the mask, and then I'm just gonna skip the hyaluronic and niacinamide because it's already on. So maybe I'll just let it soak into my skin for a couple of minutes because there's not much I can do because I don't really want to reapply. And I can also show you my body care because I just recently got a new lotion, and usually I don't use fragrances, but this one doesn't really make me irritated. It did at first at the beginning, but then it went away. So I just think my skin had to adjust, and it's a lot more, not necessarily durable, but it isn't as sensitive when it comes to products that most people can use that have not necessarily normal, but skin that can take fragrances or scents and colors. This is the ice cream scoop that I was telling you about, and the masks, the mini ones that came in the set, are so small. She thought it was bigger, but I guess that's fine because that's just what I got. So it says I do care on it and has a little smiley face, which I think is really funny and I think makes it very sweet and just kind of fun to use, because sometimes you're like, do I really want to put this mask on? But I don't actually feel that way. It's more like, I want to put this mask on, but am I gonna make the time? Yes. So you don't actually need a lot. I used the hyaluronic mask in the big jar the other day, and I didn't really need to use much because you don't actually need much of a thick layer. So I'm just gonna spread it and look in this mirror. And it really does smell like mint. It at first smells more like fake chocolate, and then it smells more like the mint you get from the ice cream. So if you like that scent, that might be nice for you. But at first, the chocolate scent is kind of like the little toys or whatever was fake chocolate scented in like the early 2000s or 2010s or
whatever it was. Oh my god, this color looks crazy. So the birthday cake one actually has little sprinkles in it, and I try not to smash the little sprinkles so it has a little bit of color because I think it looks funny to look in the mirror. And it's just fun, and I like knowing it's on my face. I don't think that this one glides on as well as the other one. It's a little more pasty. The other one is a little more, not necessarily melty, but you didn't need as much, I don't think. So I wonder why these are the ones that are in the jar. Can you even see what I'm doing? I think I may have used too much, but it is what it is. Oh, I just love wasting product today. So I'm just gonna continue doing this because it's going to take me a few more seconds and I'll be back. Yeah, I match my robe now. But anyway, update. It is sort of tingly. It says it's soothing. It says soothing on the name, soothing mask. But it's almost tingly, and I think it's supposed to be like chili, like mint, sort of. It's not supposed to burn, and it's not burning, but I can feel it on my face. It is not like hyaluronic acid one. And at first I was like, ooh, it's kind of cooling, refreshing. But now it's sort of tingly, and I know my face looks like it's red, but it's not actually red, so that's why I'm not worried. But I don't know if it's supposed to do this. Maybe it's because I have my cleanser, my pH Vaseline Soothing pH cleanser, and then my sunscreen, but I really don't know because some of those are new products. But I'm just gonna leave it on only 5 minutes instead of 10, and I think that I'm gonna go change, and that brings me to the next step.
So this is my outfit for the night. I wanted something comfortable, and I kind of wanted pink, but I also really like green, and I thought pink and green go nice together. But also, I didn't really pick the colors. It was actually that I wanted something that would not make me hot and was just really comfortable. And my clothes happened to all sort of coordinate and match because I sort of have my own taste in what I like. And it's just some shorts with little flowers on them, and then this shirt with a little bow with some lace on it, and I think it'll keep me pretty cool tonight. I changed. So, shorts, pink shorts, mint shirt, and matching mask. I kind of look like Shrek right now, but mint, and I'm going to show you in the other lighting because I think that's funny. I think this lighting is a little better, but you can see the mask is like green. It's just a very thin layer, and it says it wouldn't dry, but I think I did it so thin that it's dry. And it matches the shirt, and in person it's way more green, so that's why it's actually really funny, because obviously your face is not green. So I did the rest of my skincare. I washed off the mask, and I put everything else on, and I also did my new body lotion, the Cream Pistachio by EOS. So I'll show you that because I think it's a new fragrance that they just dropped. I should also probably take off this headband because I've had it on for so long. My hair is still slightly wet because I did just a body shower, but my hair still got kind of wet even though I had a cap on. So I adjusted my hair a little bit. I adjusted it, but I think I might put it into a braid just so it's out of the way because I'm sure it'll be pretty hot tonight. So we'll see. This is the new lotion I got. I'm not quite sure when it launched, but it had a new sign at the store that I went to. And it says the creme de pistachio, and it's by EOS. And I love that it's mint, or kind of like a sage green, but I was not thinking about that when I was using that with the other mask. But I like how it smells. It has a very strong scent, so if you don't like scents, then it probably would not be recommended. The bottle sort of looks like this. It's very thin, but I think the ounce might be bigger than my other one. It's 12 and that's 16, but of course that's my trusty basic, and that's what it looks like in the packaging. But of course that is my go-to. These are some of the products that I use, just basic shampoo and conditioner, and that mask I have had for a while, and I use it every few days, not every day. And that Dove, I think it's chamomile and something else, is very moisturizing, so I really like it. And although that sugar scrub says charcoal, it's actually vitamin C, that the scent that someone gave me. And then this Dove body scrub is new, and I can't quite tell if it works. I think it kind of does, but I can't tell if it was because of the soap that was actually helping it, because I used both. I also like using cuticle oil. I have this one that has little blossoms in it, and it has a bit of a scent. It's kind of fruity, and it's very good for nail health, which affects your hands, and of course your skin affects how your nails are, and keeping just your cuticles and hands moisturized is really important and helps. So this is the setup that I like to do. I like to have some music on. I really love the song Mystery of Love by Sufjan Stevens from the movie soundtrack Call Me By Your Name. But I think I love the song even before I saw the movie. Or I saw the movie, but I didn't remember and I knew about the song. But either way, good movie and good song. So I have my gratitude journals here. I have my finished one that I use to sort of look back on the past 13 weeks and sort of see what's different when I do my new blank guided journal. And this is the one I showed in my other video, the self-care journal, and it's like a linen one, and the other one is pink. And also I have a candle warmer set up, and I can't decide if I want almond croissant or Capri Sunset, because almond croissant reminds me of a bakery and like warmth when you want to be cozy, and I actually got it for fall. But I feel like it's a little bit hot for that, and I don't want to be reminded of the warmth. So I kind of want Capri Sunset. But then it's like summery, but it doesn't make me feel hot. But then it also doesn't make me feel cozy. So I can't really decide, but we'll see. So this is the one I decided on. It has different settings, and I usually put it on the second lowest setting because it's usually strong enough if you have a big enough and strong enough candle. And I think it is just such a beautiful candle, but also it smells so good. It's, let me see, it's grapefruit, tangerine, raspberry, and sandalwood. And it just is kind of nostalgic because I feel like summer isn't over. So I just smelled it, both of them, and I was like, I just want summer. I don't want fall when it's not fall yet, because we're not really gonna get summer back. So I have this pink bottle right here, but it always leaks. And I think I just got like a faulty one. But it's like a pink with a darker pink cap. But I actually just got a new bottle. I found a mini version of this Blue Bow Hydro Peak, and it's actually so cute. And I know I've been using that word a lot lately, but I use words that make me feel a certain way. So if that's the emotion I feel, I just say it. It's not so much vocabulary, it's more that's just how I feel in a lot of things that I think are cute, and that's how they make me feel. It's like a very specific feeling, and I think that's one of the main emotions I try to feel, even though my humor can be more dry, but it's a really cute bottle, and I'm getting off track. But I actually had originally seen a larger version, but it was just too big when I got it. So I'm glad I found this small one. It's like the perfect size. You can keep refilling it, and it fits ice and just enough water that by the time the ice melts, you're already done with the water. So I like to fill up a water bottle with ice and water and just keep refilling it throughout the night before I go to bed. So I think hydration is really key to your health and not waking up dehydrating, getting a headache. And I think it just makes it easier getting used to drinking water. Your body will want it more and it'll just help you with your overall health. And I've been getting a lot better at drinking water. So I'm listening to music when the camera is not going on and I'm about to start my journaling. And I have the candle going and the scent is very strong. I'm being reminded of summer and it feels like a summer night. And one of the things that I do during the summer is I do a bucket list and a new things I want to try list, and also a sort of goals to do list. And I use Notion for that. And you can make like templates or just make it very basic with to do lists and bullet points and just write it out. And although that doesn't necessarily tie into a night routine, it does sort of incorporate romanticizing your life at night, and you can do that during the day or evening. But it's especially important for me in the morning and night because it makes me sort of realize that you only really get one summer day of that exact day once per year, and it's never going to happen in that year ever again. And I'm only ever going to be the age that I am now with the experiences that I have and the happiness and personality that guides me through life will be a little bit different than when I grow into the years. And I don't think it's necessarily getting older, but I think it's more that you change when life changes and you just become more of a person that's not necessarily deeper, but your emotions feel deeper. Your brain just naturally wants to let go of things and move forward, and it's almost like getting wise without the advice. It's just wise because you sort of emotionally change as a person, and it's not consciously trying to improve your emotional intelligence, but rather just life changes you. And I think that's a part that I don't really think about,
that I just want to bring up because I was thinking about it as I just talked now, and I think that my experiences and other people's experiences, especially at whatever age people are at, but when someone's the same age as you, you sort of have not the same experiences, but you have the same experience as in you feel emotions at the same level, because I think it just gets stronger with age in a different way. Not necessarily that you don't feel deep, strong emotions that really affect you when you're young, but rather how you experience things is on a sort of different level. Not necessarily up or down, but just kind of just different. Just something completely different, a different realm, not necessarily a level up or down. And maybe I could do some sort of video on that topic. I have mentioned in my other video that I want to do a video on life aesthetic, which is something that I use a lot in my own life, and I have my own personal definition of that, and I sort of use the term to describe what that is. And although it can seem very vague, I think I don't really want to explain it until I get to that video, because it would take a lot of explaining. But back to just maybe about age related videos or content, more like experiences and just talking about your experience. And I don't think it's like an age thing where you're not mature, or you're too mature, or you're not wise, or you have advice. It's more like, I'm trying to describe it, but it's just that whatever step of life that people are in, that's what they're experiencing. And you could be the same age but experience it completely different, but just feel it on the same level or realm, as I said. And I don't think people really know what sort of realm their emotions will be in until they get to that age, because they've had experiences and build up to that, and they kind of think, oh, this is how I feel currently at this moment, at this age. And maybe people wouldn't describe it the same way as me, but that's something I personally experienced, and I feel like as a human that all people would sort of relate to that experience and just have it the same way. But that's just a reflection that sometimes I'll have at night. So it ties back into this video how you can do journaling. They have blank pages. You can just reflect, write out your thoughts and whatever musings and reflections you have at night that might guide you to your long-term goals, whether that's career or your passions or just your values of what makes life important for you to be living it and why you want to live life. So with everything that I just said, I kind of want to journal specifically and help me with how I think about like my summer and romanticizing life, because sometimes I feel like I almost regret not doing enough, not doing more, not doing things on my bucket list, and not making my summer night or morning the best it can be, instead of just lounging around. And it feels like wasting time because it had potential, and even though I was happy, I can't feel content, because in my mind I'm like, that's not what's fun, even if I did have fun. And it would just feel like I didn't meet my goals, even though romanticizing shouldn't be about reaching goals. That's just something, I'm not sure that's how I am, but that's just something I sort of think, at least because I make so many lists and I want to do all these things, and I truly do want to do these things, but sometimes I'm just not in the mood.
and you can choose which one you want to do and pick around. But sometimes I think I just can't accept that maybe I just want to be lazy and it's okay to just live and not get any closer to your goals. Whether that's romanticizing life a certain way and doing all these things on your bucket list, not necessarily these high value things or what society says, but just something simple like, did I watch a movie at night with the lights and popcorn, or sit by my window at night and look outside and sort of read or reminisce or just do something like that, because it's something I truly want to do, and that's how I view life and how I feel about life. But I think I can journal about that, so that's something I'll be focusing on. And I think that nightly journaling is really helpful and important. So whatever you choose to sort of focus on or write about using the prompts and whatever inspires you that day or night, I think it'll really help you get closer to not only to your goals but to yourself. And I think when you get closer to yourself, then you can actually continue to go towards your goals that align with who you are, but do it in a way that's productive in a healthy way and not just how I was mentioning it. So I missed Sunday because of an event, and then today I went out and I was filming, so I didn't really get a chance. And you can see that I crossed some stuff out because I realized that that was the wrong day. I usually only really do it on my free days, which is what I call the days I don't really work as much, because I think it's more positive and something I can write that's more optimistic, because I can make sure that the day goes well, and it's just easier to find something that I'm truly grateful for without, toxic positivity. And you can see that, like I showed you in the other video, it has today's top goals, today's affirmation I'm grateful for, what can I improve upon, highlight of the day, and this one that should be for Sunday. This Sunday is, what reasons are keeping you from demanding the best for yourself. And there's like a little quote and for the day and date, and I like to use my pen that I have on the side. And one of the things I do to help me remember how I felt on that day when I'm filling it in for that day is I sort of want to write in the mindset of that day. But sometimes I found writing in the mindset I have now makes more sense because it's almost healthier, because that's just what I want to do. And this is for today. Imagine what you would be like without self-reflection. And I had seen this earlier, and my first thought is that I would be really dumb. But I think that maybe based on this, let me see what the other prompt was for the other one. I think depending on Sunday, if it was an optimistic day, I kind of wanted a day that was challenging. I will go over my photos and videos and whatever I have, screenshots, and I will fill it out based on if I think I should, if it was a challenging day. And I also go based on the one before that, not necessarily the one after it, but the one before. I think it helps with just going with the goals that tracks, like each question tracks like the other one. So reason keeping you from demanding the best for yourself. The other one was, how will you plan your life? And the one before that was, what aspects of life should you focus on? So how about focus on planning life, demanding best of yourself? It sort of goes in order and sort of keeps building off of that. So I'm just gonna fill this out as much as I can because it is getting late, because my device battery was low. But I'll see how much I can fill out and maybe I can do it tomorrow. But I want to do some editing, so we'll see. So I ended up filling out the journal. I don't know why I phrased it that way. In my mind. I filled it out in my mind. I sort of went through everything, and I'm just a bit too tired to actually physically write it since it's a bit later than it usually is. And I had a long day, in a very hot day, and I noticed that I wanted to rush over the ones that was about the highlight of my day, even what I could improve upon and what I'm grateful for. And I wanted to focus more on the ones that help me with my goals, like the prompts, and because they're goal related questions to the top 3 goals you made at the beginning of the journal, and thinking about like my 3 goals for the day. But even then, I don't want to fill that in. I was just skipping it over, thinking it wasn't as important, and not finding the energy for it, and not thinking it was important enough, because I had a tendency, which is a good thing, to make goals that were just self-care related and something that helped me rather than just goals that got me somewhere. And I think when I was filling it out, it was really important because I realized that I just appreciate more when I think about what I'm grateful for, what my highlight of the day was, and it makes me take everything in and realize, like what I was saying earlier, that when you're happy, and you should be content with that. If that's what makes you happy, even if your mind says, oh, that's not enough, that shouldn't make you happy. If you're just happy and it's enough, then that's just what it is. So that was my night routine and self-care rituals, and how to do self-care and solo dates in one at home at night, and how to enjoy company with yourself. See you!